Phil Spencer is a bit of a controversial person when it comes to the video game industry, and it looks like things are going to continue to be a little bit controversial. Now, the interesting thing here is that Phil Spencer himself has kind of maybe a little bit contradicted some of the stuff that he said, but at the same time, listen, I think Phil Spencer's a good guy. I think he's a decent guy. I think that at times he's probably been, I would say, a little bit over his head when it comes to running Xbox, but I think that he's done overall a pretty good job. But I also think that he fails and kind of maybe underestimates some of the things that you need as a platform holder like Xbox. I feel like in my heart of hearts that Phil has, gotten that wrong just a little bit. And, I think that obviously this is something that a lot of people are going to be talking about for a while to come. I saw it kind of dominate the headlines yesterday. There's two things basically that we're going to talk about, and one big announcement and one kind of leading story, and I wanted to cover them in this video because I just felt like it was definitely worthwhile, and I'm sure that you guys will probably agree once we get to that point. I can't wait to jump into this. I love talking about video games. This is what it's all about, folks. This right here. I can't wait to get into it. Let's go. It's going to be a video you're going to want to miss. What's up, everybody? I'm Crap Gamer, and this, of course, is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home of gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice some changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. I know how busy you all are, but thank you guys very much. And if you're here, you might as well leave a like, right? Yes, right. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, listen. Phil Spencer's in the news again. One of the things that I think that Phil Spencer does well is he really kind of gets himself out there, right? He's always pretty much able to kind of talk to, fans. He's there to talk to, journalists and whoever, and he always has a take. Whether or not that take is good, hey, you know what? We all don't have great takes like moi. Like my takes are absolutely phenomenal all the time. Never a miss. Yeah, right. But anyway, so that's one of the things that Phil always kind of has going for him. And in this particular instance, Phil Spencer was talking about, kind of like the console war and doesn't want gamers to weaponize games to battle between platforms. And I feel like he does believe this, but I also feel like this is almost a necessary evil when it comes to video games. So Xbox boss Phil Spencer has asked that fans respect creators and to celebrate the upcoming releases regardless of platform. Spencer was recently awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award at DICE 22 following his acceptance speech in which he called out the toxic environments in the gaming industry. Phil Spencer chatted to IGN about his greatest accomplishments, his hopes for the next decade, and the social connections that gaming brings to so many. When asked if he had a message for fans, he was keen to voice his idea that players respected creators rather than use games as ammunition in the console war. He said, and I quote, "I think it's very often that creations can be kind of weaponized and used in battles between platforms and other things. I look at everybody who was brave enough to create something, put it out, have their peers, the industry players, play and analyze and talk about what they do. Let's just celebrate the fact that so many great games are coming out from so many creators and realize that's such a foundation for where this industry is going to go." Now, during his acceptance speech, Spencer reiterated his desire to see improvements within the gaming industry, specifically when it comes to workplace toxicity. "We have a responsibility to everyone in the business, we have a responsibility to society, and we have a responsibility to ourselves. Our responsibility is simple: do everything possible to ensure that this entire industry is about treating every single person with dignity and respect." So, he's talked up a good game here, but I think that, even the people that you look at and people would go, oh, well, they're not, they're not console warriors or whatever. Like, they are. Like, even like the smallest YouTubers, the biggest YouTubers, they all do that. Right? It doesn't matter which side you're on. Like, I think that it's somewhat healthy to compare games and to have competition, because if you're saying, okay, let's just get and not have any competition, I think that doesn't work out well for anybody. I feel like you have to have that level of competition there. If they're creating great games, I mean, think about this. If people aren't comparing single-player games like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, then don't we not end up getting a Fable? Because the whole reason why he decided to go ahead and allow Fable to get worked on is because, at the end of the day, those games prove that you can do single-player games and be successful. that's where I think, some of this kind of comes into play, and I think that it's smart to have some competition there. You don't have to totally be a saint or whatever. The funny part is, though, you see some of the usual suspects on Twitter and stuff like that pretend like, oh, they're all for not doing this, etc., etc. Because listen, at the end of the day, good games are subjective, but in a way they're not. Reviews and things like that matter. Speaking of that, Xbox does have a rather big thing to celebrate, and it might not be a huge deal, but Xbox Series X and S have already outsold the Xbox One in Japan. Think about that for a second, folks. I know, technically it's the largest growing place for Xbox, but it's still incredible to see the way that this has come out. So the Series X and S have both outsold the Xbox One's lifetime sales in Japan, despite the newer console only being released in the country a little over a year ago. According to Famitsu's hardware sales, the Xbox Series X and S have both collectively outsold the Xbox One in Japan as of February 20th, 2022. This means that the next-gen Xbox consoles managed to sell more units in just over a year than Xbox One sold in more than 7 years. The Famitsu hardware sales reveal the Xbox Series X hit 84,000 total units sold, and Xbox Series S sold 68,000 units in a week during ending February 20th. That means both consoles have now outsold their predecessors' lifetime efforts. It's no secret that Japan's Xbox sales fall behind in comparison to the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation sales. In fact, the Nintendo Switch sold 23,000 units and the PS5 sold 23,000 units during the same week. That's not even taking into account all the different Nintendo Switch models and PS5 Digital Edition. Microsoft has been keen to reestablish itself in the region, but for now, Sony and Nintendo's efforts far outstrip Xbox owners. So yeah, very interesting to see that that's actually happening the way that it's kind of going. It's not like the biggest growth or anything like that, but they have managed to do much better for themselves in that area. So we do continue to see some strange things come out of there, and I know that there's a long way to go for Microsoft, but it's also exactly what Microsoft has been looking to do, and thankfully it does look like they're going to be able to go out there and have something to hang their hat on a little bit. I still think it's pretty big news. I mean, yeah, it's not number one or anything, but considering how poorly the Xbox One did over there, I think that it makes a lot of sense to kind of celebrate what you're doing a little bit. And again, these are good news and good announcement for the console industry. I mean, we all want the console industry to do well. We all want the console industry to continue to kind of push boundaries and things like that, and this is exactly the way that they do it. So yeah, it's very interesting to see what's going on here, and I can't wait to see what the future has to behold when it's all said and done. It's going to be a fantastic thing, and I can't wait to talk about it. There's some good stuff coming on the horizon, and this is what it's all about, folks. Let's get into it. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.